Limp. Tim Kerr, Dave Poulin, Ilka Sinisalo, all are injured, should dress tonight, and Brad McCrimmon gone for the season. The Oilers have won the last 2 games. They have the momentum, and the Flyers do not want to come back in here Thursday night with the Oilers having the opportunity to wrap up their 2nd consecutive Stanley Cup on home ice. But this young Philly team has a lot of character. They've shown us that all season long, and as recently as Game 3. They will not quit. With the play-by-play tonight, Dan Kelly. With his colored commentary, Ron Roosh, and expert analysis once again by Brad Park. Brad, what are we looking for this evening?
I think this is a pivotal game in the series. The Oilers, this can really wrap the series up for them going to the next game to clinch it. They have been very aggressive in Game 2 and the first period of Game 3, and that really helped them because it got them the lead and forced Philadelphia to do things that they didn't want to do. As far as the Flyers are concerned, the longer that they can keep Edmonton off the scoreboard, the better it is for them. As was proven in Game 1, it frustrates them. It makes them, play a little bit tighter. And it makes them, the flow of the game slow down a little bit.
We've seen 3 very different types of hockey games. Philly checking and win, Oilers checking, and then that Oiler fire wagon style. Which do you think we'll see early?
Well, it depends on the refereeing tonight, because in Game 3 we saw a lot of 4-on-4 situations, and that gave Edmonton an advantage. They've got a Coffey, Gretzky, Curry. There's a lot of open ice up there, and it makes the Philadelphia, I don't know if they can cover them with that much ice.
Well, we'll find out very soon. It is just about time for the first period. This is Carling O'Keefe Sports, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CTV. The Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. The Oilers, with their crowd unusually noisy, lead the series 2 games to 1. They have won 8 straight games on home ice this year in the playoffs. Going back to last year, a streak of 14 playoff victories in a row for the defending Stanley Cup champion Oilers. And the Oilers are on a record-setting pace again in this year's playoffs. They have already set or tied 21 different playoff records. In Game 3, Paul Coffey added another record to the Oiler category. And number 99, Wayne Gretzky, added 2 more records in Game 3 of the series. So the Oilers have been hot on home ice, and they're on a record-setting pace, as we mentioned. Ron, when you look at all these stats, can the Oilers be beaten by this Philadelphia team?
Well, yes, I think they can, Dan. First of all, you've got to look at the way the Oilers have played against the Flyers. The Flyers have kept them down. They've managed to control the scores. That's what you have to do against a team like the Edmonton Oilers. 8 goals in 3 games. That's not like the 10 and 11 we were seeing in the Chicago series. And, you look at how quickly things seemed to get out of hand the other night. And then the game slowly turned again, back into the Flyers' favor. Just 7 shots in the final 2 periods. So, yes, I think they can be controlled, especially a team that can skate with them as the Philadelphia Flyers can.
Meanwhile, Ron, if Philadelphia is to extend this series to Game 6 back in their building, because Game 5 is also set here Thursday night, I think it's imperative that they win this game tonight. If they ever get behind 3-1 and the Oilers have a chance Thursday to wrap up the Cup here in their home building, they'd be in very big trouble.
You're right, Dan. This is a very young hockey team, and I think this backs-to-the-wall situation, although they are disciplined and so on, I think they face the same kind of problem that Edmonton did a couple of years ago against the Islanders, where the Islanders were controlling them, and the Oilers were the new kids on the block. Flyers are the new kids on the block. They're going to be heard from over the next couple of years, but put them against the wall, and I don't know whether some of that youth might not come to the surface.
One of their big guns, Tim Kerr, played sparingly in Game 3. He will not even play at all tonight. And Mike Keenan has thrown a couple of newcomers into the lineup for this game.
Well, the most notable one is actually not a rookie. Ray Allison, as a matter of fact, is going to dress, but Tim Kerr is not in the lineup at all tonight. May not be for the rest of the playoffs.
This is the scene at the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, Alberta, just prior to the national anthems being played, and the crowd is on its feet. Usually this crowd is criticized for being very quiet, but here in the last couple of games, they have been revved up. And now the national anthems featuring Paul Loriot.
Bye.
usually pretty quiet for the Oilers tonight, received a standing ovation of about 4 minutes. The officials for this game, the referee Terry Fraser and the linesman John D'Amico and Ray Scampanello. By the way, Andy Van Helleman had been scheduled to work. He has a bad back.
And Pelle Lindbergh is making his 83rd start of the season. He's won 52 games this year, 83rd, including the playoffs and regular season. And Grant Fuhr has started all 16 games in the playoffs and 29 straight going back to the regular season. So a couple of fine goaltenders in this game as we're set to go.
Edmonton leading the series 2-1. Dave Poulin will face off with Mark Messier. And game 4 is underway. This is Kevin Lowe, number 4 for Edmonton. Over to Mark Napier, back to Lowe. Lead pass to Glenn Anderson. Brad Marsh hustling back. Gets to it first, and it's icing against Edmonton. By the way, we talked briefly about the lineups. Philadelphia making a couple of changes tonight, and so have the Oilers. Lindsey Carson is not in uniform for this evening, and Ray Allison has been suited up. That's one of the Philadelphia changes. Also, Todd Bergen is in uniform for Philadelphia this evening. There you see Mike Keenan, the young Philadelphia coach. And I don't know, Ron, of a coach I've ever seen come into the NHL and do a better coaching job than Mike Keenan has done this year.
Well, in hindsight, should we be so surprised? He has had such great success in the lower levels of hockey.
Face-off won by Philadelphia. Lowe now coming up with it for Edmonton. Flipping it near the flyer line, and Ed Hospodar back to get it, but it's cleared away by Lindbergh. Now Rich Sutter to Ron Sutter. At center to Derek Smith. Broken up, and Lindbergh came out of the net, but lets Hospodar play. He's forecheck. The Oilers center it, but that's intercepted, and here's number 24, Derek Smith. Smith shoots one. Big rebound, and Huddy cleared it away. Now Smith to Ron Sutter. Sutter gets it in front. They score! Off Rich Sutter's skate. And the Flyers get what they needed in a very big way. The game's first goal.
That all started way back in the other end, Dan. Here's the chance as we take a look at a big save here, right off the shot by Derek Smith. And the rebound is let go, and there's the Flyers with that speed moving in. It winds up swinging around behind the net. Good check thrown in there on Smith, but watch this now as it swings out in front of the net. Sutter is there, and he just put it in off a pad and into the net. And watch Sutter, number 14. He's in front of the net now, and then wings it around behind, throws it out in front, and it hits the skate there of Rich Sutter and goes into the net. So the two Sutters combine.
Rich Sutter gets the goal on the pass from his twin brother, Ron. Here's Rick Tocchet for the Flyers as they start off quickly in this game. Here's Poulin shot just wide. And now Tikkanen for Edmonton gets it to Yari Curry to Wayne Gretzky. His shot off of Doug Crossman and then grabbed by Pelle Lindbergh. And he held onto it, and we'll get a face-off. As now the sticks go up to the side of the Flyer goal. The scoring play, Rick Sutter from Ron Sutter and Derek Smith after just 46 seconds.
Well, Rich Sutter, the two Sutter brothers, when they were drafted, the twins, of course, drafted the same year. The two brothers lasted just 10 picks in the draft. Philadelphia got the first one, Ron. Pittsburgh got the second one. That was Rich. And then, of course, Rich came over in the trade, a rather big trade.
The importance of the Flyers getting the first goal is they play much better as a team in the lead. They're not a good catch-up type team. And that's why they were so intent on getting the game's first goal. Here's Mark Howe celebrating his 30th birthday today. Clearing one to Ilka Sinisalo. Now Joe Patterson's high shot off the glass. Here's Paul Coffey to Gretzky, knocked away from him. Dave Semenko back. Sinisalo and Patterson gang up on him. Gretzky couldn't get it as Patterson works on the boards. And now Gretzky gets another chance, and here he comes to Paul Coffey. Around Mark Howe. Coffey checked at the last second, and back comes Howe to Sinisalo. Sinisalo wide by about a foot as Randy Gregg was the only man back. Here comes Coffey the other way. Backhander off the stick of Lindbergh. Now Peter Zezel cleared it. Gretzky stole it and centered it. But there defensively was Howe to clear it away, and he clears it all the way down the ice. Randy Gregg back in the lineup tonight despite a knee injury. Back to touch it. Icing against the Flyers. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV.
1-0 in favor of Philadelphia. Rick Sutter's first goal of the playoffs. Here's Brian Propp getting it to Doug Crossman. Now to Len Hackborn, who's also in the Flyer lineup tonight. He's checked, and back is Willie Lindstrom, number 19. Lindstrom's shot up high. Winds up on the mesh, and because an Edmonton player put it there, the faceoff will be moved outside the line, but meanwhile, some of the players have other ideas here.
Well, Brad Marsh was behind the net, and Kevin McClellan came around and put an arm lock around his head. Not a situation you want to see because it puts an odd man situation in there. Sometimes leads to a little trouble, but I think discipline is the key in this hockey game, certainly for the players, but then again, they've not been short of that at any time during the playoffs. Look at Brad Marsh. Tempo in this game, Dan, looks a little bit like that first game. The Flyers have seemed to have cranked it up a bit of a notch here, and they are a little bit on top of the Oilers very early.
Glenn Sather, the president, the general manager, and the coach of this high-flying Edmonton team. Faceoff is going to be outside the Philadelphia blue line. Todd Bergen comes out to play left wing with Murray Craven and Ray Allison. Allison in the Flyer lineup tonight wearing jersey number 36. Now Edmonton with a line of Messier, Krushelnyski, and Anderson. Krushelnyski to Kevin Lowe, who fires it in. Marsh back for the Flyers. Marsh able to clear it. And he shoots it too hard. It will go the length of the ice. Low back after it. And it's icing against Philadelphia. Brad Clark is our analyst again tonight. And Brad, is that first goal of the game for Philadelphia as important as I think it is?
That's like winning the $1 million lottery, Dan. You know, it builds a confidence for the Flyers, and that's what they need. Now they're going to concentrate on keeping Edmonton off the scoreboard and getting them to make mistakes, bad gambles.
And they're a much better team with the lead than they are trying to come from behind.
There's not a team in the National Hockey League that isn't a good front runner.
There you see Kevin Lowe, the fine Edmonton defenseman, and here's Mark Howe, intercepted by Kevin McClellan, who centered it. Rick Tocchet intercepts that, giving it to Howe. Howe couldn't get through the Edmonton defense, and Ed Hospodar goes back for the Flyers. Pass intercepted by McClellan. He just dumps it in, and Dave Poulin, number 20, is back. Third at McClellan intercepts that. Penalty coming up against Philadelphia. Puck centered. Hospodar tried to get possession, couldn't, and now Hospodar roughed up in the corner. McClellan was there. Meanwhile, the Flyers are already going to get a penalty on the play. And that will come right now from Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV.
Dave Poulin going off for high sticking at 3:31 of the first period. Here it is. Poulin's got the puck as he heads around his own net. Takes a little bit of an elbow, I would have to say, up against the boards. The stick came down, and he got the high sticking.
Edmonton on the power play. Charlie Huddy tied up by Murray Craven, and Craven gets it to Ron Sutter. He's one-on-one against Coffey. Shoots. Big save. Pure in the rebound. Taken by Huddy. Got to center to Gretzky, now to Krushelnyski, into Wayne Gretzky. Back to Yari Curry to Mike Krushelnyski. To Gretzky. Shooting off Howe and just wide. Charlie Huddy at the point. Into Yari Curry. To Krushelnyski, back to Curry, who missed it. Huddy hustles over to keep it in, giving it to Coffey. Now to Gretzky, centered to Curry, just tipped away by Crossman. Huddy to Curry. Back to Huddy. Over to Coffey. He scores! Paul Coffey!
Here it is. I think this one deflected in front of the net. That's Huddy getting it at the blue line. Just feeds it across. Coffey, they like to let him get the shot away. And he let that one go, and Lindbergh appeared to have it, looked like it, and suddenly it was up over top of his his pads. Let's take a look at it again, see if we can see a deflection there. And not even on that angle can we see it, but it seemed to change directions a bit. Take a look at it again. All right, across to Coffey. There's the shot, clean shot.
Howe may have screened the goaltender, but I don't think it hit him. And for Paul Coffey,
his 10th goal of the playoffs and another Stanley Cup record. His 10th goal, the most goals ever by a defenseman. He had been tied with Brad Park and Bobby Orr. How do you like to see a record fall of yours, Brad Park?
Well, that's a lot of credit to Paul Coffey. He's a heck of a defenseman. I've got a lot of admiration for that man.
He just got his 10th goal of the playoffs, the most ever by a defenseman in one playoff year. And it's tied at 1. Now it's Hospodar for Philadelphia. And that play was offside at the Edmonton blue line. A power play goal it was for Coffey to tie this game at 1 apiece.
Well, the power play, really the power play for both of these teams has not really been the greatest. Again, you're playing against good checking machinery out there. And even on the power play against Edmonton, you have to watch yourself. So it's, this one a big one, and Coffey maybe in for one of those nights of his again.
That's only the second power play goal of this series for Edmonton. 2 for 15 on the power play. Philadelphia is only 1 for 17, so the penalty killers have had the big edge here in the early part of this series. Here's Mark Howe back to get it. A 1-1 game. Howe's long pass for Brian Kropp. Pure clearing it. Tocchet tried to knock it down, couldn't. And Howe controls at center. He drops it to Hospodar. Penalty coming up as Pat Hughes and Poulin got involved, and it's going to be against Hughes of Edmonton. The late penalty coming up. Here's Kropp. His shot in front. And it's grabbed by Pure on a close-in try by Philadelphia. And now a penalty coming up against Pat Hughes of the Oilers. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup final on CTV.
Pat Hughes goes off for high sticking at 5:17. Here it is up along the boards in the center ice zone as the checking goes on between Poulin and Hughes, and the stick came down as he went down. And so now the Flyers will get an opportunity here. 1-1 tie.
That Edmonton scoring play, by the way, was Paul Coffey, his 10th goal of the playoffs. Huddy and Curry get the assist. 4:22 was the time. And it's a 1-1 game, and now Philadelphia with the man advantage. And as we mentioned, they've only been 1 for 17 in this series against Edmonton while playing with the man advantage. It's Poulin, Kropp, and Tocchet up front. Crossman and Howe as the point men. Messier wins a big faceoff. Wall tried to clear it, but Poulin intercepts. Tocchet and Poulin get the puck loose. Now to Kropp. Kropp upended by Fogelin. And Messier clears it across to Gretzky, back to Mark Messier. Crossman is there for Philadelphia. Ahead to Dave Poulin. Poulin trying to set up Tocchet. Gretzky took him out. Now Gretzky upended, and there'll be a penalty coming up now against Philadelphia. Crossman back to get it. Well, the penalty's going to be against Edmonton. Here's Howe. Shoots off the goal post. Now Kropp. Cleared it. Fogelin gets it, and now the penalty for slashing against the Oilers. Most of the crowd, and indeed yours truly, thought the penalty was going to be against the Flyers, but it's against Messier of Edmonton. And the Oilers will be 2 men short.
All right, well, let's take a look at it here now. They just go up against the boards, and really, that's Tocchet up there. Down goes Gretzky on the plate, and up goes the arm of Kerry Fraser, and all of that. Off goes Messier. 1:18 remaining in the other penalty. Chance here is on the slash. Here's Mark Howe now as they have the extra man on the ice now as the goaltender is out, and he just put that off the post. Grant Fuhr's been pretty sharp early in this game.
So a 2-man advantage here for Philadelphia. Hughes has a minute 15 left, and now Messier joins him. And immediately Huddy fell on top of the puck, and we'll get a face-off in the Edmonton zone. But a big edge here for the Flyers. A 2-man advantage. Huddy and Coffey are the defensemen. Gretzky the only forward. Zezel is tossed out of the face-off. And Todd Bergen will take it. It's Bergen, Zezel, and Sinisalo up front. Here's Sinisalo. Now they drop it to Howe. Over to the other point, but intercepted by Coffey, who gives it to Gretzky. And Gretzky just dumps it in. He'll head for the bench and is replaced by Harry Kerr. Here comes Doug Crossman to Zezel. Zezel into Todd Bergen. Bergen to Zezel. Philadelphia with a two-man advantage. Drop back to Bergen. Bergen has the big shot. Lets it go. He scores! Todd Bergen, and it may have been deflected by Zezel. We'll wait and see. And Philadelphia, with a two-man advantage, takes the lead 2-1.
They had nobody playing the point on this play as they worked it into the corner. Zezel's got the puck there. That's Crossman in there. Now backing up near the line is Bergen. And as he floats into the slot, he just lets it go. They cleared the way, but the shot was so good that Pure had no chance on it. Doesn't look like it deflected, Dan. We'll see what the announcement is. Here comes Bergen's shot, but Bergen had to get back to the point to get that pass because Crossman had floated into the area directly in front of the net. There was no point man.
Todd Bergen does get the goal. Sinisalo and Zezel were there, but Bergen's shot went directly in. Here are the Flyers still with a one-man advantage into the Oilers zone. Broken up and shot out by Edmonton, but Howell knocked it away. Now stolen by Fogelin. He slides the puck behind the Flyer goal. Crossman being forechecked by Hunter on the play. Hunter couldn't center it. It's taken by Dave Poulin. Head manning to Rick Tocchet. He fires it in. Pure trying to clear it. Almost got caught out of there. Now Tocchet for the Flyers. Rick Tocchet. Checked by Curry. That's Marsh holding it in. A drive that deflects wide. Ron Sutter. Checked by Lowe. And Kevin Lowe is able to get it out of the zone. Shot back in by the Flyers, but called it an offside. That second Philadelphia goal on the power play, Todd Bergen from Zezel and Crossman, 6:38 the time. A power play goal with a two-man advantage.
All right, there again you see it as number 19 is Bergen just floating into the slot and then driving it, but he was pinched in too far, and there was nobody there at the time for Zezel to pass it to until finally he backed up. Zezel standing there waiting. Finally somebody was in position. He floated in and got the shot away.
Todd Bergen, a 21-year-old rookie from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. Former number 5 draft choice of the Flyers back in '82. Has a big shot, and he let it go there. And for Bergen, who came on very late in the season, his 4th goal to the playoffs. Still 21 seconds left in Messier's penalty. Here's Zezel against Gretzky. Gretzky got the draw, but it was wide. And it's Mark Howe for Philadelphia. Howe tied up by Curry. Coffey cleared it to Gretzky. Now Howe steals it. His shot, and Curry cleared it. Howe couldn't hold it in. Howe over to Ed Hospodar. He fires it in. Messier is back on. Here's Bergen into Zezel. Now to Ilka Sinisalo. Sinisalo centered, just knocked away by Huddy in the nick of time. And Hospodar races back for the Flyers. Number 17, Ed Hospodar. Long pass to Sinisalo will go the length of the ice and be icing here against Philadelphia. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV. Mike Keenan and his Flyers with a 2-1 lead. 11:38 left in the first period, and the Flyers have dominated, Ron.
Shots on goal are 5-1 for the Flyers right now, Dan. 2-1 lead. They controlled the zone. They have forechecked very aggressively.
Here's Jackson for Edmonton in front to Anderson. A backhander wide. Messier to Anderson. He's upended. The Flyers. Crossman will get a penalty as Anderson was upended on the play. And number 3, Doug Crossman, will go to the penalty box for Philadelphia. Now Edmonton will get a power play chance.
Let's take a look at it behind the net now as play in front of that. Crossman went down there. And or at least made the check in front of the net. He's gone now. The check in front. He was very upset as the call was unsportsmanlike. Well, let's just wait here. 4 minutes, so there's unsportsmanlike to go with the holding.
And that could be costly. He got the holding call and was upset and talked himself into an unsportsmanlike conduct. And the Oilers now trailing 2-1 go on the power play. Their only goal of this game came on the power play.
So a 2-minute minor for holding and a minor for unsportsmanlike conduct. 4 minutes against Doug Crossman. Messier, Gretzky, and Anderson up front. Coffey and Huddy will be the point men. Now Mike Keenan calling Ron Sutter over to the Flyer bench with some instructions. Sutter comes back out. He and Dave Poulin will be the penalty-killing forwards with Marsh and Howe on the Flyer defense. Messier to Coffey. Over to Huddy, a drive. Lindbergh the save, and then the rebound hit Gretzky and went off the side of the net. Flyers cleared, and Ron Sutter has a breakaway. Sutter. Pure the save, and a penalty coming up here, and a penalty shot has been awarded to Ron Sutter.
Well, the king of the penalty shot in the National Hockey League is Kerry Fraser. He's never been afraid to call him. This one, I don't think there was much doubt about it at all. A clear-cut breakaway is what you have to have. You have to be in the clear. He was hooked from behind. Let's take a look at it now as he is well in the clear here. That's Messier coming up from behind. He hooks him and hauls him down. Well, he pulled himself up to it, then got him down on the second try, and now Sutter is going to get a chance. Well, I'll tell you, Kerry Fraser, he doesn't shrink from pressure at all.
So, Ron Sutter will get a penalty shot. Philadelphia leading 2-1. And Sutter will get a penalty shot. Fraser will explain the situation to the Oiler goaltender Grant Fuhr. And then Sutter will have free sailing in all alone and take the penalty shot. Fraser has given Fuhr the last-minute instructions. Sutter gets a new stick.
And Sutter was a very, very good scorer in junior hockey. He's started to study his defense when he came to the NHL.
Here goes Ron Sutter, and a penalty shot. Fuhr, a pad save.
Much you can say about it is one-on-one. You look for the best shot you can. Tough to beat this man on the glove side, and that's what he shot at. Tried to get it in under the arm if he could. Take a look at it again. I don't know what you do against a Grant Fuhr, who's a reactive kind of a goaltender. He lets you make the first move. He's cool. And he just reacted on the shot. Where you shoot it, he'll make the save.
So, big save there for Fuhr on the penalty shot, and now back to the Edmonton power play. Here's Glenn Anderson. Dropping it to Huddy. Over to Coffey. Centered, and it's deflected wide by Anderson. Howe gets it. Now Gretzky drops to Huddy. Marsh driving Huddy out. Here's Messier. In front to Anderson. Over to the other side. Lindbergh to save. Rebound! And Messier hit the side of the net. There's Gretzky centering it. Now Paul Coffey. Intercepted by Howe. And he clears it ahead for Poulin, who lets it go into the Edmonton zone. Charlie Huddy leaving it for Coffey. Back to Huddy. Now to Krushelnyski. Hospodar breaks it up. Here is Gary Curry off of Marsh, and Marsh cleared it to Ron Sutter. Over to Rick Toppin. Or to Murray Craven it is, and the play is offside at the Edmonton blue line. Brad, first your thoughts on the penalty shot called by Fraser and the save by Fuhr.
Well, I think Kerry Fraser's really put himself in the spot right here in the first period. He gave Philadelphia Flyers a 5-on-3 right off the bat, or rather the Edmonton Oilers. He's been really involved in this period. Now he gives a penalty shot. It was a very good call, and it was a bold call by him.
What about the play that Sutter made? Did he make the right play? Meanwhile, Edmonton came back, and Ron just about scored a couple of times.
They were all around the net there, Dan. It was a great action from end to end.
Here is Craven clearing it in, and Randy Gregg gets it for Edmonton.
The Oilers still on a power play. Krushelnyski dumping it in. And Dvorak clears it away for Philadelphia. Kevin Lowe back to get it. Lowe firing it in. The Oilers race in. Krushelnyski gets it. But Hospodar takes over for the Flyers. And Ed Hospodar with a long shot. That gave Fuhr an anxious moment. It skipped on him. Here's Randy Gregg. Lets it go to Krushelnyski to Gretzky. Leaving it for Curry. Number 17, Yari Curry to Krushelnyski. And hit Marsh. And Brad Marsh gets it to Dave Poulin, who cleared it up. Paul Coffey back to get it. 1:32 left in the second penalty to Crossman. Here comes Coffey. Marsh bumps him. Ron Sutter gets the puck. Leaves it for Howe, and Howe cleared it away for the Flyers. Going back is Huddy. Now 1:15 left in the double penalty to Crossman. Here's Messier on the fly. Huddy couldn't hold it in, and a break for Philadelphia. Smith racing after a loose puck. Has Craven in front. He scores! Craven! A short-handed goal, and the Flyers have a 3-1 lead.
Well, a little bit of the Edmonton Oilers medicine here in this period. Here it is as the defenseman fell down. Derek Smith chased it. Now Grant Fuhr at the other end started to come out of his net. I think probably he'd have been better served to do that. This is a 2-on-0 break, and what a play made to Craven in front of the net. And he had to chip it in. Quick pass, Derek Smith, Murray Craven. Here it is up along the boards now. Sees his man, and all he did was chip it over top of Fuhr. 3-1.
So a 3-1 Philadelphia lead. Just think if they had been able to score on the penalty shot, the trouble the Oilers would be in right now. And even with that, Edmonton behind by 2. Here's Curry dropping it back to the rookie Tikkanen. Still 45 seconds left in Crossman's penalty. Tikkanen dumping it in. Mark Howe is there. Now Curry knocks it on the boards. Howe trying to clear it. Held in and shot wide by Huddy. To the other side to Lowe. Now into Curry. Behind the net to Tikkanen. Tikkanen to Gretzky. Gretzky. Faked again, gives it to Curry. And Howe intercepted and cleared it away. Here's Lowe. 10 seconds left in the penalty. Lowe checked. Tikkanen held it in. Now it comes to Curry, into Gretzky. Back to Curry, a drive. Lindbergh, a big save there. Crossman's back on, and he took Gregg out of the play, and the Flyers have a 2-on-1. Here's Zezel to Sinisalo. Zezel shoots, and he hit the goalpost with a stick of the Edmonton defenseman, I'm not sure. And the Flyers came very close again. And Tikkanen cleared it out. Knocked down by Hospodar with a high stick. But it goes to an Edmonton player, so play goes on. Here is Joe Patterson, number 28. Ridden out by Huddy. Now Coffey for Edmonton. Headmanning it to Kevin McClellan. Teams at full strength. McClellan to Coffey. Fires wide with that wrist shot. And it bounces to center. Put Charlie Huddy back together. Over to Lindstrom. Now to Hunter. Into McClellan, who tipped it in, but Crossman is back together. Doug Crossman to Joe Patterson. To Brian Kropp. Don Jackson took him out. And Huddy gets the loose puck. 3-1, Philadelphia leader. Here's Poulin, stealing it from Lindstrom. Into Brian Kropp, but knocked away by Huddy. Now shot in by Dvorak. Poulin digs in. The Kropp shot just wide. Here's Dvorak, holding it in. Flyers, Poulin trying to get it in front. Still battling while on his knees, and then Fuhr grabbed it and held on. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup final on CTV.
Well, it's not very often you're going to see the Edmonton Oilers completely dominated, especially in their own building, but they are being beaten to the puck here by Philadelphia. Wow, what was that? That was a 2-on-1. The puck went off the goalpost. I saw all that in that speed there, Dan. And then out to Sinisalo, who missed it and had a chance there, and he had the open side to shoot at, but it hopped over his stick.
The original shot went off the goalpost, didn't
yes,
it, Rob?
it did. You had it right.
3-1, Philadelphia leading. And Murray Craven gets ready for a face-off with Mark Messier in the Edmonton zone. Messier won it. And Don Jackson, number 29. Headmanning it to Mark Napier. Napier checked by Hospodar. Here's Brian Kropp. Couldn't get around Jackson. And Fuhr sets it up for Glenn Anderson. To Napier. Now the Flyers holding it in. Rick Tocchet to Hospodar. Intercepted by Randy Gregg, and away comes Messier. Messier to Napier. Hospodar knocked it away, and here comes Craven. Shoots one. Good stick save there by Fuhr. Derek Smith held it in. Messier clearing it. And here's number 9, Anderson. Wide by a couple of feet. Low holding it in. Ron Sutter breaks it up. Cleared it. And now the puck is dumped in and it's offside. Meanwhile, Hospodar and Gretzky almost got involved. And of course, Hospodar, a focal point of the crowd here in Edmonton after the injury in Game 3 to Mark Napier, who's playing, by the way, tonight with a special protective device around his mouth.
Well, he had his teeth knocked out in the other game. There you see Wayne Gretzky. And there you see a fellow who's had really been the focal point of a lot of stuff in the playoffs that's involving Philadelphia. You remember back to the spear of Peter Stastny. And then of Paymo in the Quebec series that got things going. He had 2 fights in Game 1 of this series. Elbowed Kevin McClellan and knocked him out last Thursday. And then, of course, the cross-check unpenalized against Mark Napier.
Edmonton dump it in, and Doug Crossman is back after it. Firing one to center. Intercepted by Fogelin. Now the Flyers' Ron Sutter shooting it in. Here's Smith. Upended, but no penalty, as I think rightly so. The referee, Fraser, thought the Flyer player had taken a dive. Here's Marsh. Flips it up high into the Edmonton zone. Nobody knew where it was for a second. Now Kevin Lowe quickly cleared it. And it's Rich Sutter. Jack, but Crossman is there to feed Brad Marsh. Stolen by Curry, but Crossman intercepted his pass and gets it into the Edmonton zone. Number 4 is Lowe. Kevin Lowe bounces one in. Brad Marsh is there for Philadelphia. Clearing it to number 28, Joe Patterson. He just fires it in. Sinisalo in to get it. He couldn't get it. Now Patterson did hold it in, but here's Curry to Gretzky. Gretzky dropping it to Hunter, and Hospodar, a good play to break that up. And then Hospodar dives to clear it into the Edmonton zone. Coffey cleared up the Flyers center. Zezel gets it in front, but Harry Curry picked it off for the Oilers. Headmanning it to Hunter. Dave Hunter dropped pass to Coffey. Off Hospodar. Hunter a chance. Rebound. And he put it up too high. And the Flyers come back, but now a penalty has been called. And now Hospodar and Gretzky almost get into it. And Gretzky is restrained by one of the linesmen as he and Hospodar almost got into it. Meanwhile, a penalty coming up against Philadelphia. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV.
Well, Ed Hospodar goes off for slashing at 16:38. It was Hospodar, I think, who saved what was an open net chance right at the side of the net by getting his stick or his elbow up on it, and it deflected over top of the net. And Hospodar, in the same sequence with the Oilers buzzing around, drew a penalty. So he is off now.
We have had some action in this period. Here's Messier on the Oiler power play to Coffey. Shooting high and wide. Huddy pinching in for the Oilers. To Messier. Messier gives it to Anderson, knocked away by Crossman, and Cooler cleared it out for the Flyers. Glenn Anderson going back for Edmonton to Paul Coffey. He let Anderson take it. Anderson cleared it. Ron Sutter stole it. Anderson was there to cover up. And the Oilers have been rather lackadaisical at times. Here's Huddy into Coffey. And the play is offside as now Ron Sutter almost got into it. I think with Paul Coffey. It was Coffey. Brad, your thoughts on this first period so far?
Dan, this has been a great hockey game. This is like 60 minutes packed into 20. I think the team's been going at it very strong. I think Edmonton has been so anxious to dominate and take control and put some goals in that they've ended up coughing up the puck and giving Philadelphia good chances. It looks like Philadelphia is playing as an experienced team, and Edmonton's trying to rush things.
Brad, what would you have done on that penalty shot if you'd been in Ron Sutter's position? Would you have tried the same thing?
It was kind of interesting because Ron Sutter beat Fuhrer in the first game going to his backhand. It was interesting to see that he didn't even try. He tried to shoot right away. But I think we're going to look at the highlights later. And Fuhrer, he jumped out of the net. He went right out before Sutter had crossed the blue line.
Here we go, back to the Edmonton power play. Coffey dumping it in. The Crossman is back together. Tried to clear it. Coffey held it in. Over to Gretzky. Back to Huddy. Into Gretzky. To Curry, a drive. That's deflected, and a good save there by Lindbergh on a shot that hit somebody and changed directions on him. But Lindbergh was very sharp and made the save.
Well, Curry's got that 70-goal type shot at his. He let it go, and I think it deflected in front as you watch. The Crossman's in there, and I think that probably Lindbergh would have preferred the direct shot to something deflecting in on him. He really had to change directions on it. Let's watch it again now as it comes out to Curry, who just one-times it there with Anderson in front of him, and with the deflection, Lindbergh had to be very alert.
56 seconds left in the Hospodar penalty to Philadelphia. Gary Curry with 18 goals in the playoffs. His next will tie the all-time record for goals in a playoff year. Reggie Leach of the Flyers has that mark. Here's Murray Craven. Able to clear it. Held in, but Ron Sutter gets it and slides it away. Number 22 is Huddy for the Oilers. Now Curry. Checked on the play by Sutter. Coffey waits for his team to get onside. Didn't wait long enough. Curry was still trapped in there, and it's offside at the Flyer line.
Well, Yari Curry, the Oilers not playing with a great deal of poise in this game, and that is being caused by the Flyers. It's not because they're playing badly so much as they're being pressured into making plays, the low percentage type plays that cost you. They've been caught on more 3-on-2s than I'm sure Coach Glenn Sather would really like to see. Sometimes 2-on-0s, as we saw. A shorthanded situation. There's a fellow who's playing with pain, Dave Poulin.
Both knee and rib injuries, but he's out there. Here comes Huddy. Prop ties him up. Now gets the puck and cleared it. Cleared it up over the boards at the Flyer bench, and we get a stoppage. 30 years old is Mark Howe today.
He'd like to get a Stanley Cup to go with so many other honors that he's had in the game of hockey, including a Memorial Cup. He's a silver medal in the Olympics.
Must make you feel old. You broadcast games when he was a junior in the Memorial Cup when he was 17?
Yeah, I did the Memorial Cup final. He was the most valuable player in the Memorial Cup playoffs. Way back in 1973, I guess, when the Marlies won the championship against a team that had Lanny McDonald and Tom Lysiak in it, and the Gassoff brothers.
I don't know if he makes you feel old, but he does me. Here's Coffey. Over to the point of drive. They score! Charlie Huddy!
Well, that's what drives you nuts about the Edmonton Oilers. They can be completely dominated in a period, and yet look what happened. Here's Huddy getting it. Lets just a bullet go, and a screen shot. And as you can see, Lindbergh's still looking for it. Again, the quick pass across. Huddy sets up. The screen is there. Marsh is there trying to clear the area in front, but just failed to get the people away. And Lindbergh just didn't see it. Charlie Huddy picks up the goal.
Charlie Huddy gets the goal. Paul Coffey, who had the first Oiler goal, gets the assist. So he's been in on both of the Edmonton scoring plays. Here's Poulin. Shot wide of the goal. Mark Howe pinching in to hold it in. The Flyers are back at full strength because Hospodar returned when Coffey's goal went in. And a minute 14 remains in the first period. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV. Here we go. Play just underway. Edmonton's Messier stealing it, winding it around onto the far wing to McClellan. And Marsh hustles back for Philadelphia. Cleared it. Held in by Hunter. We're in the final minute of the first period. Here's McClellan in to tie up Marsh. Now Hunter. Hammered down behind the net by Zezel. Hunter gets loose. Got it in front. Bounced up high. Went just wide of the net. And the Flyers try and clear it. And this hitting is really something at this point. There's a big block of a shot by Zezel. And then it's cleared. Fogelin firing it in. Hospodar bumped by Hunter. Held in by Edmonton, but Marsh will carry out. Passes to Poulin. He was upended, and it will be icing against Philadelphia. Let's go to our CTV studio and Dan Matheson.
Coming up in our first period intermission, we will talk with the Oilers' Kevin Lowe, profile the Flyers' Ed Hospodar, and Brad Park will be along with the highlights.
Ron, this has been some period, hasn't it?
It's been a good period of hockey, and I think what's made it so good has been a bit of a surprising performance in many people's minds, including myself, of the Flyers. They really took it to them. I thought they would try and play cozy early in the period, try and settle the game down, which they failed to do in the game on Saturday night here and found themselves behind early. What they did was they just put the pressure on the Oilers in their own zone, the pressure unrelenting. And the shots on goal right now, 10-8 favor the Flyers. They had a 10-5 advantage at one point, but the Oilers have come on in the latter stages of the period. They're looking a little better right now.
That last Edmonton scoring play, Charlie Huddy, and his third playoff goal this year. Coffey and Curry the assist, 18-23 the time. There's Messier as the Oilers try and jam it in, but Lindbergh went sliding across and covered up. And this game was just about tied up right there.
Well, right off the face-off, they had this little play where they work and reaching around. Now watch the area in front of the net. And I said the Oilers are coming on. Messier, and then right in front of the net, Curry trying to jam it in there. And it's held out by Lindbergh, who just sprawled across the goal mouth area in close. Again, look at it as the tap ahead by Messier. They throw it across in front. There's Curry rolling it to the post, and he just can't get it over the line as Lindbergh came across and helped out, and Sutter also in there to finish the check off.
Paul Coffey has scored one of the Edmonton goals, assisted on the other, adding to his already new record of points by a defenseman in the playoffs. He now has 33. And, of course, earlier in this game, broke another with his 10th goal, breaking the old mark. Goal held by Brad Park and Bobby Orr. I guess you could call it a banner year for Paul Coffey.
Not for the whole year, but the last half, certainly.
And the playoffs, he has been something else. Here's Howe. Trying to clear it, held in by Edmonton. Here's Messier. Centered, and Howe recovered and slid across to break up that dangerous situation. And we're down to just 3 seconds left in the period. And a big defensive play by Howe.
Nice to see speed on the ice if you're a Flyer fan, because that fella there has got immense speed. And he hopped on that puck very quickly right at the line and was quickly moving towards the net. Howe came right across to cut him off with the pass, as it were. Not a good year for Mark Messier. He has had his problems with injuries and so on, and a lot more, but he has the weapons. He brings out not only his speed, his ability to score, but that mean streak that some coaches, I think most coaches, would like to see in their hockey players. He's tough.
Just 3 seconds left in the period. Big face-off between Murray Craven and Mark Messier. Somebody had jumped into the circle. That's the reason for the delay. Messier gets it to Curry, a shot wide by about a foot. And that will end the period. Shots on goal on a late flurry by Edmonton wind up even at 10 apiece.
But the Flyers lead the Oilers 3-2 here after one period. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup final on CTV.
Game as in the last, Brad Park promised lots of scoring, and once again he has delivered.
You're making me really sound good here, Dan.
What have you got for us? Lots of goals.
I think, you're talking about highlights. We're going to look at 4 goals. We're going to look at the penalty shot. And in some of the goals, it's the little things that make things happen for you. I think if we go to the first highlight, which is the first goal, here's a key. The Oiler defense got caught on a change, and they end up backing in on Grant Fuhr. They get the shot by Derek Smith. It's very hard for Fuhr to control the rebound. The puck ends up over in the corner by the side of the net. And here you got confusion because a lot of the forwards have all come in. You got a lot of the Edmonton players in deep. Ron Sutter goes around, backhands it out in front. He's not looking for anybody, but Brother Rich had gone to the net, hits his skate. Grant Fuhr really had no choice. On our second highlight, here's something you really have to watch for. Watch Pelle Lindbergh. He's going to take a little chop right there at Mike Krushelinski, and he doesn't have the angle when Paul Coffey one-times the shot. Such a little thing, but such a big thing, too. On our third highlight, here we have the puck behind the net. Peter Zezel. Now watch this. The Philadelphia Flyers have switched around. The pass goes out to Bergen. Watch Crossman in front. Watch him go and run the pick on Paul Coffey. Right here. Paul Coffey can't get to him. Bergen's getting to the middle with a great shot and just blows it by Grant Fuhr. A little thing. A good pick at the right time. Now we're going to go and we're going to have a look at the penalty shot. Watch Grant Fuhr. He can't leave the goal crease until he crosses the blue line. He's not at the blue line yet. Where's Grant Fuhr? He's out. I mean, that's illegal. That should have been called. But a key game like this, and he does the right thing. He's got positioning on him. He left the goal crease a little bit too early. Small thing. Nobody catches it. Okay, here's the next goal. Messier going down. Edmonton's a little frustrated. They're trying to really put the pressure on. The pass is knocked off his stick. Huddy had moved in. Coffey had moved in on the far side. And now it's a foot race. If there's probably one guy that Paul Coffey might have trouble catching on the Philadelphia Flyers, it's Murray Craven. He's a tall guy. He can skate like the wind. Derek Smith comes down. Craven's gone for the net. But Fuhr had been out too far. And Murray Craven makes no mistake. A beautiful goal. Edmonton being very aggressive and Philadelphia capitalizing.
Well, Flyers lead 3-2 after 20 minutes of play. We are almost set to start the second period. Just a reminder, however, Game 5 in this series will be once again in this building. A 7 o'clock local start, 9 o'clock Eastern start here on CTV. Now let's go upstairs to Dan Kelly.
Okay, Dan, and there you see Grant Fuhr. And by the way, that penalty shot that Fuhr stopped in the first period, that was only the third penalty shot ever called in a Stanley Cup final. All 3 have been unsuccessful. First one was Virgil Johnson of Chicago against Bill Durnant of Montreal in 1944. Then Frank Mahovlich of Montreal against Tony Esposito of Chicago in 71. And I remember that one well. Art Skov called it. Tony Esposito had thrown his goal stick. You'd remember that one, Ron.
Yeah, that great year in that Stanley Cup year the Canadians had. Take a look at the goaltenders involved who shut him out. Bill Durnant, Tony Esposito, and now I guess Grant Fuhr, who looks like he's going to be one of the greats as well.
Here we go at the second period. Philadelphia leading 3-2. Now it is Lee Fogelin jumping it in for Edmonton, and this is the way the second period starts. Brad Marsh winding it around for Doug Crossman. Flyers clear it. Anderson held it in, but Crossman gets it again. Intercepted by Anderson. Shoots, he scores! Wayne Anderson!
Well, they could turn things around quickly. That puck rolled out to center ice, give away on a pass up front, and back in they come as Anderson now with Marsh acting as the screen, just let it go right between his legs. And again, you see Lindbergh with no chance. He's out, he's got the angle, but he didn't see it until it had got by Marsh. And in it goes, and we, in fact, have got 2 goals scored in about 2 minutes. The tag end of one period, the early part of the next one, we have a tie hockey game.
And the Oilers attack again. It's Mark Napier. Crossman ties him up, centered, but Marsh takes over for the Flyers. Brad Marsh
Winding up, he shot it wide. Now Brian Tropp behind the goal. Pocket trying to center it, hits Muir's skate. And then he grabs it. Now Pocket gets into it with Lee Fogelin. Lee Fogelin and Rick Tocchet of the Flyers.
Well, this is the business of protecting the goaltender, which is very nice, but Fogelin had no business doing what he did. Tocchet had every right to be there at the corner of the net looking for the loose puck. And so we wind up with what we got is going to be coincidental penalties in all likelihood when the whole thing was started by an over-aggressive defenseman.
From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV.
Well, Fogelin and also Tocchet in the penalty box after all of that. Started again by a close call, actually, out from the corner that seemed to elude Grant Fuhr right at the side of the net. They piled in there looking for a rebound, Fogelin protecting his goaltender, and they both get the 2-minute minors.
Here's another look at that goal, and what a rocket it was by Glenn Anderson.
Well, a giveaway first on a backhand pass, and Anderson anticipated very well. It was intended for Propp. He just got back in over the line quickly and just drifted it right by goaltender Pelle Lindbergh, and again Marsh out there screening him.
It was an unassisted goal for Anderson at the 21-second mark. And now each team a man short because of minors to Tocchet and Fogelin. Here comes Gretzky. Takes it into Paul Coffey. Back to Messier. Fires wide by a couple of feet. And now Huddy goes back to get it. Roughing penalties against Tocchet and Fogelin. And the 4-on-4 situation that cost the Flyers so dearly in Game 3. Here's Gretzky. Giving it to Coffey. Edmonton in Game 3 scored 3 of their 4 goals in this 4-on-4 situation. Here's Coffey. Now Curry. But Sinisalo gets it for the Flyers. Ahead to Murray Craven. Craven tied up by Huddy. Now Curry tried to clear it. Crossman held it in. A shot. Fuhr steers it for Randy Gregg. Now to Curry to Gretzky. Gretzky shooting, and he blasted it wide. And boy, Lindbergh came up to meet him there. Here's Curry flipping one up, and he flipped it high into the crowd.
Well, what caused all of that with Gretzky suddenly breaking in was a terrible change at the bench by the Philadelphia Flyers, as very lazily getting off the bench were both Marsh and Dvorak. And Gretzky got the big jump. You see the defenseman coming into the picture there. And Gretzky, you don't often give him that much room, and he misses the net, but he missed it there. But they nearly found themselves in the hole here. So suddenly it switched around, and it is the Oilers who are taking it to the Flyers here in the second period.
4 against 4. Here's Anderson into Messier. Back to Anderson. Dvorak tried to clear it. So did Marsh. And now Lindbergh dives out to cover up. And another close call for the Oilers, this time with Anderson and Messier.
Just a case of 2 defensemen getting in the way in that one. Not much room to operate at all as Anderson tried to take a whack. That's Dvorak, number 9 there. Marsh, the big fellow, also coming back. He's the one without the helmet. In they come, and it's just a matter of everybody running some interference in there as Hackborn also came into the picture.
When we talked to Mike Keenan before the game tonight, Ron, he played down the 4-on-4 situation in the Edmonton success. But here they are again, and it's cleared up over the glass. Meanwhile, I think with Coffey and Gretzky and Curry and the great stars these Oilers have and the great speed and skills they have, the more ice or the more room they have, the more dangerous they have to be.
That would be under normal circumstances, but the one thing that the Flyers can do is check them under normal circumstances. They have as much speed as the Oilers do, but as has been mentioned quite regularly, whether you put out a Curry, a Coffey, a Gretzky out there, that's 3 of the 4. You've got 3 or 4 of the best hockey players around.
Here's Philadelphia with Howe. They're pretty good 4-on-4 from a scoring point, too. Here's Howe. Tried to center, and the Edmonton goal had been knocked loose.
And I'll tell you something, they're asking for a penalty here, and I'd have to go along with it. There was nobody around that net except Grant Fuhr, and suddenly it was off its hinges. Brian Propp went straight to Kerry Fraser. Now Kerry Fraser's talking to Grant Fuhr, and I'm sure he's telling him, you do that one more time, and a delay of the game will be forthcoming. All right, let's take a look at it. There's Fuhr as he backs in. That's a good view of it now. Let's see what Fuhr does here. Well, he stumbled right up against the post, and that's how it came off its mooring. So, an accident. Fraser just warning him that he's not going to tolerate any deliberate stoppages in play like that.
Dave Poulin against Messier, and Messier wins the faceoff cleanly. And here's number 7, Paul Coffey. Crossman ties him up. And Coffey has to hustle back and drop it to Charlie Huddy. Headmanning to Messier. Howe tied him up. Cleared it. The penalized players back on, and a breakaway for Tocchet. Big save, Fuhr on Tocchet. And then as Howe carries in, it's offside at the Edmonton line. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup final on CTV.
Just got a standing ovation from the fans here at the Coliseum, and for good reason. Here it comes. Rick Tocchet had come out of the penalty box, was just floating around in center ice, and here he comes with a clear breakaway again. Coffey got caught on this one, but Grant Fuhr waits, and then he just makes the play as he took care of the backhand to Rick Tocchet.
Well, you figure that play, along with the penalty shot he made on Ron Sutter, he's been a big difference in this game. It's centered out in front. Puck is loose and finally covered up on by Fuhr. On another close chance by Philadelphia.
An immense ebb and flow to this hockey game, Dan. The total domination early in the first period by the Flyers. The second half of the period belonged to the Oilers. Flyers seem to get back on their heels early in this period. And then right here, the Flyers getting back into the play and getting the offensive chances again. It's great hockey.
Great hockey here in Edmonton. A 3-3 score, 16:45 left in the second period. Messier and Zezel on the faceoff. And Messier has been very successful on these faceoffs. Let's watch this one. This time the Flyers get it, and Sinisalo drove it wide. Gretzky takes over for Edmonton. Gretzky headmanning it to Kevin Lowe. Now to Messier, who tips it in. Hospodar overskates it. Centers to Curry by Gretzky. Back to Fogelin. He couldn't hold it in, and the Oilers' Lowe has to go back. To Curry. Drops to Gretzky. Gretzky back to Curry. Return to Gretzky. Drop to Jackson, and his shot nowhere near the net, away up high. Jackson again. Shoots one. That's knocked down by Hospodar, stolen by Curry, and he was checked by Marsh before he could shoot. Here's Don Jackson. And now play is called. I think a two-line offside. The ruling there, and the faceoff will come to inside the Philadelphia blue line.
Well, the veteran linesman John D'Amico calling that one. There's Kevin McClellan. He and Hospodar have run into each other a couple of times in this playoff series. Young fellow acquired from Pittsburgh, as you see there. Very important trade last year for this Edmonton team.
Here's Randy Gregg with a pass to McClellan. Now hustling back. Gets it to Hunter. Or Hunter intercepts Howe's pass, I should say. Now McClellan in to tie Howe up. Howe getting it loose. And trying to clear it out is Ray Allison, number 36. It comes to the Edmonton line, and Randy Gregg gives it to number 12, Hunter. Hunter checked in the play by Allison. Ray Allison made the check, and Howe shoots it in. Randy Gregg back for the Oilers. Now to Hunter. Over to Lindstrom. Lindstrom around Howe. Lindbergh the save. There's Coffey. Shooting, and Lindbergh with his knees to stop that drive.
Boy, this is a tough sport for a goaltender, especially when you got somebody like Paul Coffey playing out in front of you. Watch the traffic in front of this net now. There's a kick save made by Lindbergh there. They try to clear the puck out. Coffey gets it. Now look at the traffic. I guess you don't see it on this replay. Look at the crowd. Now they clear the way just enough for Lindbergh to see that shot all the way. But look at the people gathering, looking for that rebound. Lindbergh shaking up a little bit on that. He got to spend an extra couple of seconds on his knees.
Here's the face-off with Mark Messier going to take it. Coffey is poised at the left point. And it's Dave Poulin against Messier, deep in the Flyers zone. Poulin wins the face-off, and Marsh winding it around. Held in by Messier, tried to get it to Anderson. Poulin knocked it down. And now here's Tocchet to Poulin, who dumps it in. Pure leaving it for Huddy. Now to Anderson. And Hospodar goes back for the Flyers. Here's Messier. Stolen, and Poulin breaks away for Philadelphia. Trying to center. In front for Tocchet, but Coffey had him tied up, and Napier sends Anderson on his way. Anderson back to Napier, and he just missed with that tip-in try. Here's Tocchet for the Flyers. Rick Tocchet shoots just wide there, but the play had been called in an offside anyway. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV. Ron Roche is back from Indianapolis in the 500, and he and Brad Park will go to work tonight and pick the Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Stars. And as part of that first star selection, Carling O'Keefe Sports donates $500 to the Minor Hockey Association of that player's choice. Excitement in Indianapolis and excitement in Edmonton tonight. This is some game.
About the same speed, too, it seems.
200 miles an hour. Here's Derek Smith. Well, not quite.
180.
Here's Ron Sutter tied up by Fogelman. Derek Smith for the Flyers. Centered one. And broken up by Gretzky. And here's a 2-on-1. Gretzky and Krushelnyski against Hospodar. Krushelnyski stopped by Lindbergh. And then his second try hit the side of the net. And a dangerous 2-on-1 there for the Oilers.
Well, that all started way back inside the Edmonton blue line when Rich Sutter fell down, and it presented the situation on the 2-on-1. As you see, Gretzky breaking up ice, looking, trying to find his man now, is just backing into the zone as Hospodar now tries to bottle up the lane, and it comes across, and they had to cradle the puck. That was the difference in that particular play. If they could have one-timed it, they'd have had the open side. Krushelnyski with a good chance at the side of the net.
Brad, any thoughts on what you've seen so far?
Well, Dan, I'll tell you what, good old tight hockey has gone to the win in this game. Looks like it's going to be a shootout. And it's very interesting because now the power plays seem to have come to life for both clubs tonight.
I think certainly the best game of the series so far, Brad.
Oh, it's wide open. It's excellent hockey. A lot of these people are just sitting on the end of their seats right now.
Here's Gretzky against Ron Sutter, deep in the Flyers zone. Won by Ron Sutter. Held in by Gretzky, and Marsh had to clear it. Now Lowe played it off the boards, but it's taken and shot in by Marsh for Philadelphia. Lowe takes a hit, but cleared it up over the glass, and Lowe gets up slowly after being decked by Ron Sutter.
Whoa, was he decked by Ron Sutter? He had his head down, and Sutter, who was not at all hesitant to level Lowe. Take a look at it now. Here's Lowe, and watch Sutter come in there, and boom. Good, clean, solid check. And it was Derek Smith, I guess, that actually made the check. And so Kevin Lowe a little shaky on the play.
Here's the face-off coming up in the Edmonton zone. Zezel against Messier. And the Oilers take over. Jackson nobody around and fell down. Drop centered, but Messier intercepted. And Messier strikes out. And tugged at by Patterson, just jumps it in. Zezel knocking it back, and Mark Howell takes over. Cleared, intercepting it is Hunter to Don Jackson. Cleared in by Sinicello. And it's Hunter for the Oilers. Cleared to center, shot back in by Hospodar. And Randy Gregg for Edmonton to Willie Lindstrom. Ted Manning it to McClellan. Kevin McClellan to Hunter, who fanned on the shot. Now a big pileup, and the Philadelphia goal is knocked loose.
Well, that was Jackson piling in there on that play right in front of the net as Pelle Lindbergh gets up. Boy, they're buzzing around the nets a lot there. That was Hunter coming in off the off wing, and he just couldn't get the good wood on it. He had the good angle, couldn't get the wood on it. Got the heel of his stick. Now here comes the collision right at the goal mouth area. And play is called. Shots on goal right now, 15-12, favor the Edmonton Oilers. So 5-2 in this period, favor the Oilers. You go back about the 15-minute mark of the first period when it was 10-5 favor Philadelphia, and what you see is a rather large switch in the momentum of this game by like a 10-2 switch in momentum. The shots on goal from that point favor the Edmonton Oilers.
That's Mike Keenan as the gate of the Flyer bench open. He's hollering down to the other end of the ice about something. And now he'll relay information to Brad Marsh. I think he must be arguing about the goal being knocked loose again.
Who knocked it off its pins, and where should the face-off be? Maybe that is the discussion.
That it will be deep in the Flyers zone. Dave Poulin against Messier. Messier gets the draw to Huddy, and that shot off a stick and high up into the crowd.
Well, Charlie Huddy, who is the only person, I guess, outside of Wayne Gretzky to win the Emery Edge Award, which is the one for the best plus-minus in the National Hockey League. There have only been 3 award winners. Gretzky won the last 2. Huddy won the first one.
And they try to get the fans into the wave here at the Coliseum. Here we go to the action as Marsh winds it around on the boards to Tocchet. Now to Murray Craven. And Craven tried to shoot it in and shot it right up over the glass. And now, Paul Coffey having some words with Rick Tocchet of Philadelphia.
Tocchett's been very much involved in this game, Dan. He's been hitting people. A very solid game.
Tell you one thing about that 21-year-old rookie. He doesn't pick his spots. He takes on them all.
Well, you look at him. You look at Zezel, who also hails from Scarborough. The 2 hits he put on Gretzky late in the first period. The kind of thing you have. Young kids out there, they showing no respect at all for the elder superstars. Speaking of, how about that one?
Conn Smythe Trophy winner a year ago was Mark Messier. 10 goals, 10 assists in the playoffs this year. And has been outstanding in a defensive role, a checker at times, a face-off specialist at times. Here's a quick shot by the Flyers. Fewer the save, and then Coffey cleared the rebound. Tocchet took the shot.
Paul Coffey, things were a little different. That fellow there nearly traded Paul Coffey back in 1980 around Christmas time to the Buffalo Sabres for Rick Martin. He admits it himself. Coffey was having problems. He had not adjusted to the National Hockey League very well. And they were very close to making that deal. They didn't. Some of the best trades are the ones that were never made. There was one. Maybe we'd see Buffalo in here instead of Edmonton had it been made.
From the face-off, taking over is Anderson. Shot to center, knocked down by Crossman. Now it's Anderson moving in. Poulin checks in. Poulin, quick outlet pass to Patterson. Patterson with Marsh in front, so was Tocchet, but Fogelin cleared it. Puck comes in front of the net to Fogelin again. And then Anderson slides it to the Flyer line. Here's Doug Crossman. Ahead to Patterson. Now in on the wing for Tocchet. Quick wrist shot, stick save, pure. Knocked away by Lowe, and it's up into the crowd. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV. Flyer bench, Ted Sater in the headset, off to the left of Mike Keenan, the coach. 11:41 left in the second period. A 3-3 game. Here's Ron Sutter for a face-off against Messier in the Edmonton zone. John D'Amico, the linesman, makes sure that everything is right before he drops the puck. Sutter gets it to Rich Sutter. To Hospodar, shot wide out in front. Oh, and Ron Sutter almost jammed it in with one hand. And now it's Curry clearing it away, and Rich Sutter goes back to get it. Over to Howe. Howe clearing it into the Edmonton zone. Huddy going back to get it. Clears it. Howe held it in. Bad save by Pure. Even though the shot would have been wide. Howe again. A bouncer. Loose in front. Ron Sutter. Pure. 1-2 saves on Ron Sutter. And tough saves they were. And now, off to the side of the net, a couple of players get into it. One of them is Rich Sutter, who the Edmonton player is, I'm not sure.
Well, let's watch it. And I'll tell you, the couple of times that they put the two Sutters on the ice together, they have really been something to reckon with out there. There's Ron going to the side of the net, getting a chance, but he was tied up by Huddy on that one, and he just flipped it wide. Now watch the pile up here as they start to bang away at a bouncing puck, just looking for anything to come out of the air. Rich Sutter is being tackled there by Coffey right at the side of the net. Well, this all started earlier with a chance by Ron Sutter. Here it is again now, and look at the wax that he's putting on Pure there. Down goes Rich Sutter with Coffey on top of him right at the goal mouth area. No penalties on the play, and there shouldn't have been any.
The Sutters are from nearby Viking, Alberta. And it looks like the Flyers are going to make a goaltending change, just as they did in Game 3. Bob Prose is getting ready. And here he comes.
Well, Mike Keenan says he learned this from Scotty Bowman. Scotty once in a while would do this just to change the atmosphere on the ice. Now, what has happened here is that you've seen the Oilers start to come on and put the pressure on. And you make a change like this, sometimes the atmosphere changes. All of a sudden, the players playing in front of the goaltenders rethink their roles in the game. It worked the other night. It changed the complexion of the game completely. Let's see what happens here this time. Bob throws in.
He says he just wants to interrupt the flow of the game or the flow of the Oilers. Here's a chance for the face-off, and the Flyers clear it up over the glass into the crowd. So Bob Prose taking over in goal again, the 26-year-old St. Catharines, Ontario native. This is his third action of the playoffs, all in a backup role, as Pelle Lindbergh has started every Flyer playoff game.
Well, now what's happening? They're going to do it again. Last time I saw this sort of thing happen was a Washington Capitals game. A Washington Capitals game between the Canadiens and the Capitals when Tom McVie was switching goaltenders back and forth.
Brad, do you have any thoughts?
Definitely. There was a little controversy that went on in Philadelphia in the preceding series. They always had water bottles on top of the nets. Pelle Lindbergh is used to drinking water. I think he just made the change so Pelle Lindbergh can come and get some water so he doesn't dehydrate.
Good point.
Probably dead on. So all our speculation was for naught.
Well, I don't know about the drink of water here, but in Game 3, it wasn't for a drink of water. He wanted to interrupt the flow. But here, I think Brad's point may be right on. Interesting thing.
Well, the Oilers refused to allow them to put the water bottles on top of the nets. The Flyers had requested it, as they had given both goaltenders in Philadelphia. Oh, now Sather will have something to think about the next time he denies this one. Nice Grant Fuhr. He'll get out. He'll make plays, and he is setting records for assists for goaltenders because he'll get out and start a play up the board.
The roar from the crowd, Ron, was for Dave Semenko, I think his first shift of the game. He's out there with Gretzky and Curry. Here's Derek Smith. He's out there with the Sutter brothers for Philadelphia. Now low back for Edmonton. To Curry. Hospodar racing back. And he ducked under Semenko's intended check. And that gets some boos from the crowd. Hospodar could feel them coming, couldn't he?
You hear them, and the vibrations were there.
Puck shot in, taken by Foegele. Vogelin tied up on the play. Now Curry getting it over onto the wing. Coffey to Gretzky. Shot went off Howe and went up high. Now Semenko and Hospodar in front of the net got tied up. They break apart and the puck comes into the Edmonton zone. Huddy giving it to Coffey. A 3-3 game here with 8:35 left in the second period. Gretzky played one off his skate, but Brad Marsh intercepts. Semenko trying to tie him up. Marsh shot it in for Allison, but it's offside at the Edmonton line.
Well, you can watch Semenko out there on that shift. He was very careful. He was not going to get a penalty. He made the hits that he had to make. He tied up Hospodar a couple of times, but he got some very bad penalties in the game the other night because he was trying to chase Hospodar all over the ice. This time he was after Hospodar. There was no question about that, but at the same time, he was not going to get the penalties. Here it is, and well, Semenko had him lined up. Hospodar just ducked under. But again, the checkup against the boards, at least by that view of it, looked like it would have been a clean one had he hit him.
Here's Marsh for Philadelphia to Crossman to number 36, Ray Allison. Sliding it into the Edmonton zone, and Charlie Huddy is back. Huddy now to Lindstrom. Lindstrom for Hunter. Hunter dropping it back. There'll be a penalty here to Patterson. Shot by Huddy wide of the net. It's a delayed penalty coming up against Patterson. And Lindstrom chases back 6 attackers on the ice for Edmonton. As there you see the empty Oiler goal. Huddy. And now as the Flyers get possession, now the delayed penalty call against Patterson. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV.
Patterson going off for hooking at 12-11 as you see it. And the Oilers, who have had the power play going, Patterson's number 28 as he reaches in behind and hauls this man down right at the blue line. That's the reason for the penalty.
The Oilers are 2 for 4 on the power play tonight. 3 for 18 in this series. But tonight, 2 goals as we mentioned. Here is Anderson. Gets around a man centered. Messier in too deep to shoot. Messier to Coffey to Gretzky. Gretzky back to Huddy. To Coffey to Huddy. A shot. And Lindbergh somehow able to have a bead on that shot. Made the save and held on.
Looked like one of those electronic game things, like a pinball as it went in there. Huddy let the shot go, and Anderson was the one that was floating in front. He's number 9. Watch him. Here's the shot now. Coming from Huddy. It'll come back to Huddy on the far side. There it is. Now watch Anderson, number 9, directly in front, and he got the heel of the stick on it, and it just deflected in. And again, if you play your position well, you've got a shot at those. And that was exactly what Lindbergh was doing, blocking up the area in front.
A very crucial time in this game. Edmonton in a power play. 7:22 left in the second period. A 3-3 game. And a minute 33 left in the Joe Patterson Philadelphia penalty. Here's Messier winning the face-off to Coffey. Coffey shooting off Lindbergh's shoulder. And that one stung. Here is Gretzky. To Huddy. To Coffey. A drive. Blocked in front of the net. Gretzky scores! Gretzky on the rebound.
It was all Coffey again. Here comes the shot. Coffey had let one go just moments before into the crowd in front. It got off a skate in front of the net. That's Crossman's skate. And there was Gretzky on the backhand, put it in just inside the post on the far side. But again, that good shot by Coffey started it all. And there you see the backhand shot by Gretzky. And for the first time in the hockey game, the Oilers have the lead.
And Mike Keenan has some worries. Wayne Gretzky's 15th goal of the playoffs. And the Oilers' third power play goal of this game. And Edmonton has a 4-3 lead. Puck shot in with Jackson going back to get it. Forecheck by Smith. Now McClellan for Edmonton. Cleared. Marsh intercepting. Over to Hospodar. Hospodar shot it in. Jackson is there to clear it out. And here comes Lindstrom, number 19. Marsh takes Lindstrom out. And Marsh kicks it to Ron Sutter. Gregg held it in. Rich Sutter knocked it loose. And breaking away is Derek Smith. He cleared one, but nobody was on that right side, and McClellan gets it for Edmonton. Here's Hunter to Jackson, who dumps it in. Lindbergh leaving it for Hospodar. Long pass to Zezel. Allison lost it. Here come the Oilers. Krushelnyski with a backhander that's high off the glass. Allison taken up by Gretzky. Zezel tried to clear it. Now Yari Curry to Lowe, a drive high. Here's Fogelin. Now Curry trying to hold it in. Now Fogelin again. Into Gretzky. In front to Curry to Gretzky. Lindbergh knocked it away with a stick. And Marsh for the Flyers. Able to clear up to center. Kevin Lowe back to get it. The Oilers with a 4-3 lead, and here they come again. Gretzky. Never got the shot off. Now does. Blocked by Howe. Or Hospodar it was, and cleared away. Lowe back to get it. And an icing call against Philadelphia. And a standing ovation here for the Oilers.
What a tremendous shift that line just had. And Gretzky, just like the water seemed to part for him as he cut into the slot area. Never did get a great shot away. Here it is now. Gretzky, you see him parking himself behind the net, trying to feed it out in front. The defense covered up there. That's Brad Marsh, as he's done so often in this hockey game. But that other sequence where he circled around, came into the slot, then everything moved aside for him. He does that, and people start to move with his fakes and so on, and he just winds up in open ice.
Meanwhile, a go-ahead goal for Edmonton. Gretzky on the power play from Coffey and Huddy. 12:53 the time. A power play goal, the Oilers' third of the night. Here's Napier, checked by Poulin. Now Howe ties Napier up. Anderson knocked it back to the Flyer goal, and Dvorak trying to work it out. Coffey did a good job of holding it in, but then it does come to center. Less than 5 minutes left in the second period. 4-3 Edmonton, and here comes Paul Coffey. Coffey with 3 assists tonight so far. Centered it, and Lindbergh intercepted it and held on to it.
Well, the shots on goal right now are 21-15 favor the Oilers. And remember, we told you 10-5 at the 15-minute mark of the first period. So that quick arithmetic tells you quite a bit about the way the Oilers have changed this game around. Here's the great speed of Paul Coffey. I don't think there's a better skater in the National Hockey League. Ask Mark Howe. He just blew by him right there. And behind the net, he skipped over. But look at Howe chased him all the way around behind, and he still managed to flip that one right out in front.
I think I said Coffey had 3 assists. He has a goal and 2 assists. Brad, any thoughts on the way Edmonton has seemingly taken charge?
Definitely, I think the goal in the first minute of this period has really given them a lot of life. Now they're starting to take a little bit more control. They're playing very cautious. The goal by Gretzky, a broken play. I mean, that's given them all the life. Now they're really going to try and get 1 or 2 more before the period ends.
Here's Jackson firing from the point wide. Patterson there to clear it. Don Jackson shot it, knocked away by Patterson, and Lindstrom has to hustle back for Edmonton. Willie Lindstrom. Now stolen by the Flyers. Patterson got it in front, but McClellan was there. To Hunter, but knocked away by Crossman. And number 21, Randy Gregg, back for the Oilers. Lost it to Patterson. Patterson in on goal. Hit the goal post. Patterson hit the post. It bounced off Fuhr, and then Fuhr was able to smother it. And now some high sticking off to the side of the net.
Well, pretty good shift there by Patterson. As you see the little pile up in front of the net, he got the good chance.
And from Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV.
Well, look at a worried Philadelphia bench, and well, they should be. This is Patterson moving in, and as he got it into the crowd in front, he got more room than he really, and there he put it right off the post.
Off the post and off Fuhr both, and it didn't go in. Ron Sutter against Messier.
4:07 left in the second period. A 4-3 Edmonton lead. Kevin Lowe from the faceoff around to Gretzky. Gretzky to Lowe. Now, Curry couldn't get it out. Here's Howe in front. Ron Sutter's shot on pure. Just got his gold stick on that. Lowe trying to clear it. The Sutter brothers and Smith out there for Philadelphia. Messier takes over for the Oilers. Ron Sutter intercepting. Now Fogelin comes up with the puck for Edmonton. To Gretzky. Into Curry, but offside was Gary Curry as the Oilers broke into the Flyer zone.
Well, we're beginning to see now a kind of a pattern. When Keenan sends out the two Sutter brothers, things seem to happen in favor of the Flyers. They seem to get chances. They seem to stir things up, especially forechecking. And you saw it in that sequence again. Take a look at the championships that Mike Keenan has won in the last couple of years. Peterborough in the OHL. He went to the Memorial Cup. American Hockey League with Rochester, the CIAU championship. Canadian College championship with the University of Toronto Blues last year.
Here's Krushelnyski into Gretzky. Drops to Curry to Krushelnyski. Crossman knocked it away. Centered. Marsh is there to clear. Here's Puckett. To Craven off his skate and Poulin picks it up and dumps it in. Pure clears that. Curry knocking it off the boards. Here comes Krushelnyski. Into the Flyer zone. Coffey trailing, picks it up. Shoots! Lindbergh just got a piece. And it's cleared away by Tuckett. Now, Krushelnyski at center to Curry into Gretzky. Gretzky one-on-one against the defenseman for Philadelphia. Crossman. It went off Crossman into the crowd. Dan Matheson, what's in store in the upcoming intermission?
Well, Dan Kelly, in the second period intermission, we will look at yesterday's NHL awards handed out here in town. Our regular hockey commentary, 2 minutes in the press box, and Brad Park is back with the highlights.
Meanwhile, we're down to 2 minutes, 48 seconds left in the second period. The Oilers have dominated. They've scored both goals in this period. They were once down 3-1, but they now lead 4-3. And Ron seemed to be controlling this game at this point.
Well, they took over late in the first period, but the whole second period has been Oilers.
Here's Lindstrom. Shot it in off Howe. Hospodar is there. He and Hunter collide. And now it's Allison, number 36, around on the boards for Patterson. Cleared outside the line, shot back in by McClellan, and it's offside at the Flyer blue line.
Now it's Kevin McClellan, over from the Pittsburgh Penguins, as we mentioned last year. Shots on goal since that 15-minute mark of the second period now are 17-5 Oilers, and so they have just taken it over. They're just a great hockey team. I think they're getting back on their heels a little bit. They were out hit in the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. Come right back at you. Take the best you have to offer, and they come right back in.
Now, from the face-off, a penalty call by the referee, Kerry Fraser, here. And then a little pushing match in the center ice area.
Well, Ray Allison in the middle of that, along with Hunter. Dave Hunter. Allison is definitely going, and so is Hunter. So the two of them will go out.
So a 4-on-4 situation here.
There's a lot made of that after the game the other night, because of the fact that 3 goals right off the top of the game were on 4-on-4 situations. 2 quick ones scored by the Oilers. The Flyers right back with one of their own. A little overblown, perhaps. Take a look at this first as we see right at the blue line there on the left-hand side of your picture. They get at each other. There's a pretty good slash. There's a hole in there as well.
So each team a man short as Howe breaks away for Philadelphia. Wide by a couple of feet. Anderson to Messier. And the Oilers break out. Messier checked by Poulin. Crossman clearing one. And Fogelin has to go back for the Oilers. And now a penalty coming up here to Kevin Lowe of Edmonton.
as he got tied up with Murray Craven. And it will be a 4-against-3 power play right now for Philadelphia. We're down to 1:58 remaining as Lowe goes to the penalty box. Brad Park.
And one of the interesting things is if those 4-on-4 situations really hurt Philadelphia in the last game, there's a couple of ways that you can get away from it. There's one, you can't take a retaliatory penalty to give a 4-on-4. And if you're going to go off with a guy, you got to take him for a long dance. You got to take a 5-minute, both guys.
A long dance, he calls it. Here is Lowe in the penalty box, and now Philadelphia with a chance on a 4-against-3 power play.
Well, it's interesting to see who Glenn Sather's going to send out here, and one of them will be Paul Coffey, who is playing immense hockey right now. There's no way to describe it, but he puts speed out there. He trusts his snipers to kill penalties. So you get Coffey and Huddy, who are a regular defensive pairing, and Yari Kuri. So that's the kind of faith Glenn Sather has in a 70-goal scorer.
Remember, the Oilers led the league in shorthanded goals in the regular season with 26. They lead in the playoffs with 6, so they're dangerous that way, too. Here's Philadelphia on a power play. They scored once already tonight on the power play. Now to the side of the goal. Now Sinisalo. But Curry intercepted. Curtis Crossman made a good play to intercept. To Sinisalo. Into the zone. Curry is there to clear it away. And number 3, Doug Crossman, goes back for the Flyers. Crossman into Howe. Dropping it to Crossman. 4-against-3 power play. Crossman over to Sinisalo, back to Crossman. Now to Howe. Now to Crossman. Curry makes a diving poke check to clear. And here's Coffey. Tied up by Crossman. And Doug Crossman had to take a penalty. He did. And now each team will be 2 men short.
And again, that speed of Coffey presented the penalty. Coffey breaking in. A great effort first by Curry there. Now Crossman and Coffey, and he had to put the clutch on him because Coffey would have blown right by him. And he'd had the breakaway. No doubt about the penalty, and it evens off here with 53 seconds left in the period.
Coffey kind of reminds you of one of those speedy wide receivers in football that can run that fly pattern that just runs by everybody.
They want to grab it by the throat or something. Hold it. You know, I got a shot here.
53 seconds left in the period. And now each team will be 2 men short.
Now you talk about skating room, Dan. Let's see what this looks like. Let's see who they put out. Gretzky will come out along with Gregg and Jackson. So perhaps say they're not quite as confident in a 3-on-3 than he is on a 4-on-4 situation. He puts 2 defensive people out there. Of course, that guy that's going to take the draw isn't what you call.
It's like having 2 guys up front anyway.
Yeah.
Here's Gretzky getting it to Gregg. Back to Gretzky. Over to the other point. Held in, but Poulin intercepts. And Poulin passing it to Miroslav Dvorak. Dvorak dropping it to Howe. Each team 2 men short. Cleared to center. Gregg knocks it down to Gretzky. Howe is there to take Gretzky out of the play, and Howe comes right back to Dave Poulin. 2 of the penalized players are back on, so it's 4 against 4. Poulin tied up. Dvorak trying to get it. Here's Pure clearing it. Ray Allison back to March. March is backhander wide. Allison unable to center, and Jackson has it. Allison gets it to Poulin. To Dvorak. Shot. Pure, a big save. And now a penalty again against Edmonton. As there you see Allison, who was taken out by number 12, Dave Hunter, in front of the net. And, well, no penalty. The period comes to an end. I think a penalty's called as well.
Well, it is. There's a holding penalty been called. I don't know against whom yet. We'll probably have to wait till the beginning of the period. But here's the chance here by Dvorak out in front of the net as the puck seemed to be cleared right onto his stick there. But the holding is there, and I think it's Hunter is going off. So the penalty will carry into the next period.
4-3. Edmonton leading after 2 periods. Let's go to Dan Matheson. At least going to start him in the third, and with the way Mike Keenan's going, you take it from there.
Well, I won't take it from there because I've quit trying to read his mind. We've got penalty situations going into this period, of course. Penalty was called right at the end of the period on Dave Hunter of the Edmonton Oilers. So there are 2 seconds remaining, and a penalty to Kevin Lowe. He will be back on the ice. The teams will be at even strength for another minute and 5 seconds. And then for the final 53 seconds, barring further penalties, and who's to say they won't come, the Flyers will have a power play. It's just a one-goal hockey game, but the Flyers are looking to change the momentum a little bit and change the atmosphere out on the ice, and that's what they've done by putting Bob Froese into the game. Just give it a new look. Give it something that'll get this thing turned around a little bit, because, in fact, it has become, since about the three-quarter mark of the first period, an Edmonton Oilers hockey game.
You see Lowe in the penalty box. He's the one with 2 seconds left. Hunter just beginning his 2-minute sentence, and Crossman is off for Philadelphia with 1:07 left. And here we go for the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton and the third period. Ron Sutter got the puck, but Fogelman cleared it down, and now immediately Lowe is back on, so it's another 4-against-4 situation. Here's Brad Marsh picking an opening and clearing up the length of the ice. Pure beats Craven to it. Ron Sutter knocked it down, but Lowe intercepted his pass. Lowe into Messier. Shoots. Save with a stick by Froese. Now the Oilers try and get it in front. Knocked away by Hospodar. Here's Ron Sutter. Sutter's quick wrist shot. Stop. Another shot. Stopped by Pure from Ron Sutter. Here comes Glenn Anderson. Down the ice all by himself, and Howe poked it away from Anderson, and Marsh has it. Number 8, Brad Marsh to Mark Howe. Around to Zezel. Dvorak held it in. Now Coffey breaks up. Mark Howe knocking it away. Crossman is back on. Philadelphia on a power play. Hunter still with 47 seconds left as Howe flips it to Zezel. This is picked off by Huddy. Over to Coffey, and he slides the puck the length of the ice. Throws on the boards to Howe. Howe to Poulin at center. Sinisalo checked by Lowe. And then as the Flyers carry in, they go offside anyway at the Edmonton line, and just 23 seconds left in the Hunter penalty.
Well, you saw something just a moment ago that you would not see at all with Pelle Lindbergh in the net. A goaltender, a Philadelphia goaltender, coming out. You look at Pelle on the bench and playing the puck up along the boards. Again, I mentioned in the second period, Lindbergh does not do that. It's just a little foreign to him. He doesn't want to attempt to do it at this particular stage of his career. So again, you see the little difference in the way the game is played. One goaltender to another.
The Oilers are shorthanded. Their penalty killing in this series has been excellent. They've killed off 18 of 20 penalties assessed in this series so far to this point. Here's Sinisalo. Taken out by Lowe, and Anderson clears to the right. Dvorak back to get it, and the Hunter is back on. The Oilers have killed it off. Dvorak to Poulin. Curry back checking, knocked it away. Dvorak still trying to center. And it's now taken and cleared by Lowe, and he cleared it up too high. Put it up over the glass into the crowd.
Well, Kevin Lowe gains a great deal of respect in the National Hockey League. As you look at number 4 of the Oilers, Lowe was former captain of the Quebec Rempart of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. An English kid, a French town, and a captain of a French team. That's quite an accomplishment. That just tells you a little bit about the respect that his peers hold for him. He's a tremendous hockey player. A very key part of the defense. More a defensive defenseman, overshadowed certainly, as most players are in the National Hockey League, most defensemen at least in these days, by Paul Coffey.
17:44 left in the third period. The Oilers 4, Philadelphia 3. Ron Sutter wins the faceoff. Hospodar shoots up high off the glass. Rick Sutter to Ron Sutter to Rick Sutter.
Bueller, a big save. Now Ron Sutter again. And Huddy took it away. And Huddy will flip it to Lindstrom. Now to Messier. Mark Messier in front. And too well checked by Hospodar. And there'll be a penalty to Hospodar as he had McClellan tied up. And he'll get a penalty here. Now Rich Sutter and Lindstrom almost get into it. Meanwhile, a penalty is coming up against Philadelphia. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup final on CTV.
Hooking at 2:46. We had plays at both ends of the ice. Ron Sutter set up Rich Sutter right in front of the Oilers net. And then this play as the Oilers got in. And there you see Hospodar just putting a hook on Kevin McClellan. And so he goes for that. And so now the Oilers again get an opportunity on the power play.
Hooking at 2:46 of the third period the time. And Philadelphia immediately cleared down the ice. 3 for 5 the Oilers are on the power play tonight. Here comes Glenn Anderson. Broken up by Crossman. Gretzky intercepts, dropping it to Huddy. Over to Paul Coffey. Coffey into Messier. Back to Coffey. Now to Huddy. Gretzky centers to Anderson. Poulin knocked it away. Coffey pinches in. Shoots one. Throws. Kick that out. And then Howe cleared it away. And Huddy goes back. A minute 12 left in Hospodar's penalty. Gretzky to Glenn Anderson. Anderson knocked down. Centered to Messier to Gretzky. He scores!
Oh, they can move it around. They can. Anderson, Gretzky, Messier. All in this one. That's Anderson. Hooking it out in front. Messier. Back pass. Gretzky up top. Rose going down on the play, gave him the top. Here it is. Great second effort by Anderson. Now watch the back pass. Here it comes. Now Froese, who is going the other way, now has to start to go down. And Gretzky sensing that goes up top. And it's 5-3. Another power play goal.
Gretzky's second goal of this game is 16th of the playoffs. And Edmonton's fourth goal on the power play tonight. And they have a 5-3 lead. Here's Kevin Lowe with a lead pass to Lindstrom. Lowe's knocking it away. Now Derek Smith and McClellan battle for it. Hunter trying to center, knocked away, and Marsh cleared it to center ice. Here's Kevin Lowe to Lindstrom. Back to Lowe. Fired in, throws, leaving it there. Now changed his mind. And Brad Marsh comes over to pick it up. Loses his stick. Rich Sutter is there for Philadelphia. And he fires it down the ice. Fogelin going back to get it. And this is an icing call against Philadelphia. The Oilers with a 5-3 lead. Their power play has come to life tonight, Ron.
Well, they've been shut down pretty well in this series against the Flyers. We'll get a chance here now to see it again. And the idea is get the puck out in front. That's all you really have to do. And then let the fellas coming in get their chance. And as it's tapped over, Gretzky just put it up top. Top drawer on Bob Froese.
The scoring play was Gretzky, his 16th of the playoffs from Messier and Anderson. 3:42 the time. Face off in the Flyers zone, and Crossman takes over. Crossman with a lead pass to Craven out of his reach. The Oilers clear it, held in by Crossman. His shot right on target. The Oilers grabs it and held on. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup final on CTV. Coaches at both benches, and Glenn Sather and his Oilers have a 5-3 lead as we get ready for a face-off deep in the Edmonton zone. Gretzky's 2 goals, by the way, have come on the power play tonight. And he has 4 power play goals now in the playoffs and 16 overall. Puck shot out and tipped by Gretzky.
Hospodar back for the Flyers. Long pass, going the length of the ice. Gregg going back to touch it. And it's icing against Philadelphia. Brad, Edmonton scoring 4 of their 5 goals tonight in the power play. They'd had very little success earlier in the playoffs. How come their power play has clicked?
Well, between periods, I had a chance to talk to Ted Green. He says they're finally getting some point shots. And from what I can see, Philadelphia is using a very tight box, and they've been trying, Edmonton been trying to filter the puck in tight to get the close shots. Now they're taking the point shots. They've got a couple of cannons back there. They've got Coffey and Huddy, and they're getting it on the rebounds or the initial shots with the screen.
Now, I know we talked about the change of goaltenders for Froze in Game 3 to interrupt the flow. Here in Game 4 for Lindbergh to get a chance to get a drink. How come he starts Froze here in the third?
Just a hunch, and sometimes you've got to go with them.
Here we go with a face-off. And Marsh drops it back for Crossman. Over now to Marsh. Head manning to Ron Sutter. They head to Derek Smith. Huddy knocked it away, and then Huddy fell down. Ron Sutter gets it to Derek Smith. Backhander. Stick save by Fuhr. Here are the Sutter kids and Derek Smith again, and they usually provide most of the Philadelphia pressure, at least in this game tonight. Crossman to Marsh. Shot in. Now Allison digging in. And it's cleared back out by Fuhr. And hustling back to Zezel. Flyers have changed on the fly. Zezel cleared it. Intercepted. McClellan tied up by Marsh. And it's held there for a faceoff.
Well, Brad Marsh there has blocked a few in this game. A couple have got by him, and when they've got by him, they've also got by Pelle Lindbergh. But just to extend the comment that was made by Brad Park, the total shots through the second period for the Oilers were 22. 7 of them were taken by point men. That's a third of your offense, and I think that probably it tells a story there. They're letting them go. Some of those shots have come from a ways out, and they've either been deflected in front or they've just gotten by everybody on the screen.
You know, a player I haven't seen much of in the latter part of this game, Ron, Brian Propp. He's on the bench, but hasn't been out there as regularly as normal, and he may be injured or playing hurt and not playing up to par. Puck shot in by Messier. Going back is Howe. Around on the boards to Tocchet. And it's deflected into the Edmonton zone, and Messier goes back for the Oilers. Waving it there for Fogelin. Fogelin to Anderson. Couldn't get it by Howe. There's Tocchet with a chance. Edmonton clear it. And Anderson ahead for Napier. Dvorak back, throws out of the net to clear it. And Howe and Anderson fight for it. Held in by Gregg. Napier in behind. Trying to get it for somebody in the slot, but too closely checked by Dvorak. Dvorak, number 9 for Philadelphia. Cleared it. Getting it to Poulin. Now to Howe. Ford head to Tocchet. He had been pulled down on the play by Jackson. And here come the Oilers, led by Jackson. Just knocked away by Crossman and Rick Sutter to Smith. Number 24, Smith. Shot blocked by Curry. And here's a 3-on-2 Edmonton break to Krushelnyski. Tried to get it back to Curry, but off Crossman's skate. Crossman then clearing it. And Huddy goes back for the Oilers. Edmonton with a 5-3 lead. Trying to take a 3-1 lead in this series, and now the Flyers go offside at the Edmonton blue line. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV.
Well, who says there's a hockey war going on? There's Johnny Esau, Frank Selke Jr. of CSN, Joel Nixon of the NHL broadcast department is in there, Ted Huff, all enjoying this hockey game together.
And it's been a great game. Edmonton getting behind 3-1, but now leading 5-3. Here's Coffey. Trying to flip it in. Howe kicking it into the center ice area. Here's McClellan. Flips it back in. Now I notice Brian Propp is out there for the first time in several shifts. for the Flyers. Here's Both handling a long shot. Now Lindstrom trying to center. McClellan. Kevin McClellan in front and just picked off by Hospodar. Now to Sinisalo. Into center ice to Prop, and then Prop is upended on the play. And there'll be a penalty on that play to Hunter of the Oilers.
Dan, there could have been a penalty earlier. What happened was Mark Howe lost his stick right at the blue line, and as he reached for it, Hunter skated by and knocked the stick away from him. It left Howe without a stick back in his own zone as the play came back in. Finally, Zezel handed him his stick, and he played with that. Then Hunter finally drew a penalty in the center ice zone later going. Here, perhaps we can see it. The upper right corner is the penalty here. And there's the dumping in the center ice zone. As I said, there could have been a penalty earlier on Hunter. You're not allowed to do that. A guy loses his stick. You're not supposed to knock it away from him. That's interference. So you got it one place or the other. He's upset at the second one.
So a chance for the Flyers on the power play. Just under 12 minutes remaining in the third period. Duck Crossman and Howe are the point men. And Crossman feeds Dave Poulin. Poulin, Tocchet, and Craven up front. Here's Fuhr clearing one, and Gretzky breaks up. Gretzky with Curry. Gretzky fakes it, and then Howe offended it. And the fans hollered about that. But no penalty called. Howe to Tocchet. Taken out by Lowe, and here is Fuhr clearing one. Howe into Craven. Back to Howe, but Gretzky cleared it. Crossman knocked it down. Shot. Rebound. Craven. Stopped at the edge of the crease by Grant Fuhr. And Fuhr has been a key to this Edmonton lead at this point.
I would say maybe the key in the hockey game. He has made some very important stops. So you look at him and you say, well, he's given up 3 goals. So let's look at the key saves that he's made. Was he playing the puck or was he playing, well, it was the interfering. Here he comes, tries to make a move. That's Crossman reaching back. That's Howe moving in. Gretzky goes down. Was he playing the puck? I would say no, and the fans didn't think so either. No penalty. Got away with one, Mark. Birthday gift.
Here's Zezel to Howe, a shot blasting it wide. And then it's shot to center by the Oilers. 1:05 left in the penalty, by the way, to Edmonton. Here comes Zezel, sliding it in. Todd Bergen in to get it. To Zezel. Off this skate, Coffey taken out of the play. Prop. Now trying to get it free, and it's held there by Coffey. And the faceoff will be in the Edmonton zone. Well, apparently nothing's wrong with Brian Prop. He's been out there 2 shifts in a row, but he had not been out there for quite some time.
Sometimes it's just a matter of what lines you want to get out against what lines, and Prop may have got the shuffle in all of that. You look at the 2 teams here and the injuries that the Flyers have suffered. They are hurting terribly. Forget about the fact that Tim Kerr is not playing. They've got people playing who are hurt. Poulin is one of them. Sinisalo's got a bad shoulder. He's playing hurt as well, and their offense just seems to have stripped a gear. They don't seem to have that attack. The best offense they seem to have are when the 2 Sutters are out there. Otherwise, it's just kind of hold your own.
Here's Zezel, who's out there with Bergen and Prop. Bergen sliding it around. Gretzky out killing the penalty for the Oilers. Cleared it. Crossman to Zezel. Into the Edmonton zone. Prop took a whack at it, and Fuhr came out. And with Prop all over him, Grant Fuhr held onto it. And we have 32 seconds left in Hunter's penalty. 10:34 left in the third period.
Well, get a look at this one as the puck just hopped off a stick way up into the air. And I got it. Center fielder then spins away from Brian Prop, who was right on top of him. Fuhr didn't play against the Flyers in the regular season. Andy Moog was in goal for the 3 losses. But he has started in all 16 playoff games. Actually, tonight is 29th straight start, including the regular season, as Andy Moog suffered those injuries to his knees in that collision with John Paul Kelly of Los Angeles back on March 1st. They hadn't seen any action in the playoffs at all.
Here's a loose puck taken by Prop, centered. Coffey is there to clear it, and he cleared it up into the crowd. The Flyers, by the way, tonight on the power play, 1 for 4 in the series, just 2 for 21. So the Oilers' penalty killing has been very good.
Well, an ailing Tim Kerr, we've talked about this since way back in this playoff series when Kerr was hurt in the Quebec series, that without him, suddenly that part of their game seems to dip and would dip. He's a big man around the net, literally and figuratively.
Here's Zezel against Messier. 25 seconds left in the Edmonton penalty. Messier tried to get it out. Flyers hold it in. Propp centered, but Gretzky intercepts and clears. Bergen with a quick pass to Howe. Now to Poulin through the middle. Poulin shoots wide by about a foot. As Poulin showed that great burst of speed. Now Poulin getting it to the side of the net. A chance for Philadelphia's Propp. Now Propp again. Puck bounced over his stick. And Gretzky has it. To Coffey. 2-on-1 as Coffey to Hunter just out of the penalty box. And a great stick save by Bob Froese there. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup final on CTV.
The Philadelphia Flyers have, I don't think anybody on that team, and maybe with the exception of Mark Howe, skates better. Certainly up front to Dave Poulin. He got up the middle. Paul Coffey got caught there. A quick shot and a big save made that missed the net, actually, from the far side. And the other side then comes on the 2-on-1. This was the Coffey to Hunter chance, and a stick save made there. A good one made by Bob Froese. He just reached back and kind of blocked it at the goal mouth.
Bergen wins the face-off in the Flyers zone. McClellan trying to steal it. Bergen knocked down by Dave Hunter. Now Hunter and Marsh battle. Now it's Patterson for the Flyers. Held in on a fine play at the point by Gregg, but now Philadelphia led by Todd Bergen. Bergen's long shot wide, and then Fuhr covered up on it. Todd Bergen can really fire that puck.
Well, he scored a goal just using that kind of a shot, and it took that dangerous bounce off one of the stanchions that hold up the glass behind the net, and Fuhr had to be alert back in the crease. Sometimes those will come back, hit you in the back, and bounce into the net. Now Todd Bergen, third in the team scoring, came up the last 14 regular season games. He was benched for 3 games during these finals, but he's come back and played very well in this hockey game. He's reacted to the benching very well. What a baby face. There's a few of them on this team.
There's Jackson trying to clear one out. Dvorak held it in, and Allison slides it behind the goal. Here's Lindstrom flipping one. That's knocked away, and it's Messier dumping it in. Dvorak back for Philadelphia. Dvorak headmanning it to Patterson. He couldn't handle it. Lowe cleared it away. And now it's Hunter for the Oilers. He just dumps it in. The Oilers with a 5-3 lead. Rick Sutter clearing it back up. Now Lowe. Off the boards to Hunter. Ahead to Messier. To Anderson. To Fogelin, and the Oilers just dump it in. Howe back for Philadelphia. Ahead to Ron Sutter. Now to Smith. Back to Ron Sutter out of his reach. Sutter hits Smith with the pass. Messier took him out. Now Smith to Rick Sutter. Back to Smith. And Messier tied him up. Kevin Lowe then knocks Rick Sutter down. Messier and Smith battle. Smith winding it around to the other side, and Anderson is there to clear it. And we're down to 8 minutes left in the third period. Brad Marsh to Rick Sutter. Lowe intercepting that. Cleared it, and Hospodar knocks it away. Here's Gretzky intercepting the pass. And the Oilers poke it to center. Marsh knocks that down, and here comes Propp. But Coffey took it away. Paul Coffey. Centering. Now Gretzky. In front, knocked away by Marsh. And then it's cleared. Curry at center knocked it down, but Putty clears it right back to the Flyer line. Here's Mark Howe. Shooting it in as the Oilers play defense and protect their 2-goal lead and just
Clear it right back to the Philadelphia end of the ring. Poulin. Lost it. Gretzky dumping it in. Grossman. On the boards. Now Curry to Gretzky. Gretzky to Kroshelnyski. Wide by about a foot. Here's Gretzky to Kroshelnyski. Checked by Tocchet. And the Flyers come back. Stolen by Gretzky. To Curry. Into the slot to Kroshelnyski. Skate save by Kroos. As Kroshelnyski was in all alone. And now the Flyers jump it in. 6.5 minutes left. Here's Tocchet. Centering to Craven. Knocked away by Edmonton. And we haven't had a stoppage for some time, and seconds are ticking away. Here are the Oilers to Lindstrom. He couldn't handle it, and Marsh takes over. To Craven, stolen by Lindstrom. Lindstrom's shot off Hospodar and high. Marsh clears it, and away comes Sinisella. But McClellan tied him up. Now the Flyers, Hospodar trying. Here comes Sinisella. Shoots one. Pure to his knees to stop that. And Lowe cleared it out. And the Oilers are on her showing they can play some defense.
Well, they're really tightened it up right now, and there's finally the icing call.
From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV. Following the game, we'll announce the Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Stars as selected by Brad and Ron. And as part of the first star selection, Carling O'Keefe Sports donates $500 to the Minor Hockey Association of that player's choice. Face-off coming up deep in the Edmonton zone. 5:42 left in the third period. It's still a 5-3 Edmonton lead. Todd Bergen will take the face-off against Mark Messier. Now somebody on the Oilers low is in the circle. And over comes Kerry Fraser. He wants to warn Brian Propp about his positioning for this face-off. Messier winning the draw. Lowe gets it back to Messier. Cleared. Dvorak held it in. A backhander. Cleared away by Lowe. He knocked that with a hand pass to Anderson, and that stops play. And we're down to 5:32 left. Brad, what about the Oilers in the third period?
Well, the Oilers have just done a great job of checking. They've been, they've been chasing that puck down like a pack of hounds out there, and they've just been exceptional.
From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV. 5:32 left in the third period. It's 5-3 Edmonton. And the Flyers have had no sustained attack at all here in the third period, Ron.
Well, it looks like the thrust of their attack has been diffused completely now. It really has been gone since the first period.
Here comes Anderson for Edmonton. Got it in front. Napier, a backhander wide. Now Messier. Checked by Bergen and Dvorak. Flips it to Crossman. To Patterson. Vogelin rides him out. And here's Kevin Lowe. Off the boards to Napier, but Crossman hustles back to beat him to it. Here's Propp. Over to Patterson. Huddy is there defensively. Bergen checked by Yari Curry. And Curry gives it to Coffey. Now to Yari Curry. Dvorak knocking that down and giving it to Hospodar. Stolen by Gretzky. High and wide with the shot from the slot. Gretzky again. And now Tikkanen, who's been used sparingly in this game for Edmonton. Gretzky tied up by Ron Sutter. Here's Tikkanen kicking it to Gretzky. Back to Huddy. To Coffey. Kicked out by Froze. Hospodar tries to clear it, does. Rich Sutter couldn't handle it, and here is Coffey. Over to Huddy, who shot it in and shot it up too high, up into the crowd, and we have 4:03 left
in the third period.
Charlie Huddy there. You mentioned Tikkanen. He played with the Regina Pats in Canadian junior hockey before going back home to Finland to play with IFK, which is the Helsinki team in Finland. Another one of Barry Frazier's finds. Glenn Sather made mention of it during his speech at the NHL luncheon yesterday. That they kind of brought him in. Frazier said, look, this guy can play. And Sather, with the faith he has in Barry Frazier, his chief scout, said, all right, put him right in the lineup.
They'd never seen him play, Ed Sather, except in practice. And very briefly in practice.
Right.
Here comes Hunter. Shoots one. Quick save by Froze. Now Hunter trying to get it free. Lindstrom couldn't get it in front of Howe, had him tied up. Now McClellan in front to Hunter. Fired wide. And Tocchet cleared it, but not out. Jackson's shot from the point blocked. And then it's held against the boards for a stoppage. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup Final on CTV. The chant here in Edmonton at this point is, the cup stays here.
You going to bet against it?
Not right now.
Well, the Flyers win, or at least the Oilers win this one. They're one win away with that game right here on this ice surface again.
And if they win this one, the Oilers would have won 15 straight playoff games.
Brad, looking at the way the Flyers have played this game, I'm sure that Mike Keenan has to wonder what he has to do here. What can he do now to try and change the complexion of this with his back perhaps against the wall for Thursday night?
Well, the first thing, they did everything they could tonight. They got out to a 3-1 lead, giving up those goals. They're getting Edmonton's doing a great job of getting some point shots with people in front, upsetting the Philadelphia goaltenders. You know, it's a question that he's just going to have to keep his troops interested and keep them going, because the next game means all or nothing.
Here's Fogelin and Anderson in the corner. Fogelin covers up on the puck, and now Anderson and Propp take a push at each other.
For a guy that wasn't playing much at the beginning of this period, very much involved late in the period. Ryan Propp has been a little more feisty than I think he normally is. But I think it's an indication of the kind of period the Oilers are playing, that the best player on the ice for them in this period has been Dave Hunter. He's played very, very well, but they're protecting the lead after they goal by Gretzky, made it a 2-goal lead. All of a sudden, it's the Grinders who take over to protect the lead.
And the Oilers have done that well, as Philadelphia hasn't been able to get much of a sustained attack going in this third period. Here's Peter Zezel against Messier. Here from the face-off, Zezel tied up by Messier. Now Propp a quick shot. That's wide. Here's Anderson trying to clear it. Propp held it in. A shot that deflects into the corner. Now Krushelnyski flipping one into the Philadelphia zone, and Crossman goes back. 2:35 left. Crossman leading this Flyer rush. Now just jumps it in. And Fuhr gives it to Huddy. Out to Curry. Over to Coffey. Back to Yeri Curry. Shot right on to stick save by Froze. Mars clearing it to Ron Sutter. Taken and checked him. Gretzky held it in, but lost it. And then Propp feeds Rich Sutter. Rich Sutter trying to get it to brother Ron. It comes to Marsh. Shot off the side of the net. Marsh centered. And Curry cleared it away. Held in by Derek Smith. Huddy to Tikkanen. Now Huddy. Smith held it in to Ron Sutter. And away comes Tikkanen to Gretzky. Back to Tikkanen. Derek Smith is there to clear it. And we're down to 1:40 left in the third period. 5-3 Edmonton. The Oilers dump it in. Froze setting it up. Here's Hospodar to Smith. But Fogelin will shoot it right back in for Edmonton. And this play is called an offside at the Flyer line, and we're down to 1:24 left here in the third period.
Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, one thing that I've really seen happen the last 2 or 3 games, and it's evident that Lindbergh's not in the net right now, is he's really been bothered by the Edmonton Oilers. You can see it started with Anderson, was probably the guy that's really been bothering him. Tonight, on the first goal, Coffey's goal, he was distracted by Krushelinski. Huddy's goal, he was distracted. He's really going to have to settle down for the Oilers for the next game, or for the Flyers.
Here's Hunter. Pinned in against the boards, and we're down to 1:11 left as Hunter and Poulin hold it there.
Well, we've talked so many times about the two Sutters and Derek Smith and the way they have played this game. You almost hate to see them come off the ice. It's that good old rock'em sock'em Sutter-style hockey that they play, but they have been by far the best line that the Flyers have had here tonight. Rich Sutter has a goal, Ron Sutter an assist in the game, but it's just been mostly them. Most of the action around the Oiler net has been when they've been out there, and it's mainly because they're forechecking and hitting, and they have not completed a check in the whole night. They finished their checks.
No question, they've been the best Flyer line, but it hasn't been good enough. The Oilers lead 5-3. Here's Howe over to Hospodar. Flips it to center. Fogelin back, and we're in the final minute of regulation play. Fogelin clearing it into the... Oh, and there's Hunter taking Hospodar out. Now the puck taken by Lindstrom. Lindstrom sacked by Patterson. And it's shot to center, but Fogelin has it. Fogelin shoots it right back in. Hospodar back to get it, and we're down to just 30 seconds left. Here's Philadelphia's Tocchet. Sliding it in. Going back is Huddy. Rose is staying on the ice. Here are the Flyers, centered. Patterson just missed tipping it in. And then Anderson clears it away. Here's Rose out of the net to shoot it. Now Crossman to center ice to Patterson. 5 seconds left. Buehler cleared it away. The Oilers get it to Gretzky. The Oilers win the game 5-3. They lead the series 3-1. And the Oilers, with another win on Thursday night, could wrap up their second straight Stanley Cup.
And I don't know whether the Philadelphia Flyers can play any better with the manpower situation the way it is than they did tonight. And they were just completely outmanned in the hockey game. The Oilers far, far the superior on this particular night. And now Mike Keenan is going to have to come up with something in order to try and get a win here at Edmonton Ice. If he doesn't, it's all over. It'll end on Thursday night.
The final score, the Oilers 5, Philadelphia 3. Edmonton leads the series 3-1. From Edmonton, the Stanley Cup final on CTV.